In my last video, I discussed which Star Wars movie gave us the best LEGO sets. However, today, I'm going to ask and answer the question of, without UCS sets, what is the best set from each movie? Honestly, while making this video, I realized some movies have really weak sets when they can't get carried by UCS models, but you'll have to watch until the end of the video to see what I'm talking about. Starting off with Episode 1, we have a pretty weak slew of sets. In the past few years, we haven't really gotten a lot of sets from Episode 1, so most of the best sets come from 10 plus years ago. Some honorable mentions include the new buildable droideka, the Republic Cruiser, and Anakin and Sebulba's pod racers. That being said, the obvious best set is the 7662 MTT. Released in 2007, it contained 1,330 pieces and had 21 minifigures. Yes, 21. 16 normal B1 battle droids, 2 pilot droids, 2 security battle droids, and a droideka. This is by far the best MTT we've gotten. The other two just don't measure up. The first one we got in 1999 was a product of its time, but the 2014 one was a huge downgrade and a major disappointment. I really hope that the rumored Separatist MTT we're getting this summer doesn't fall down that same path. Overall, this 2007 MTT is a great set on all levels. For only $100, it was really ahead of its time with a build that was clean and big, as well as with a generous amount of figures. Unfortunately, I'm not going to pretend that this set had some great competition, as this movie has some pretty weak sets, not gonna lie. Attack of the Clones was a bit tougher, but while there are some stronger sets that could qualify for honorable mentions like the Jango Fett Slave 1, the ATT, and the Jedi Starfighter with Hyperdrive, the obvious choice is the Republic Gunship. This has got to be one of the most universally loved sets. I used to think it was overrated until I got it in hand, and it really grew on me. Aside from the UCS version, it is the best model, even if it is a bit oversized. Coming from a legendary year for LEGO Star Wars 2013, the 75021 Republic Gunship retailed for $120, had 1,175 pieces, and 7 minifigures including 2 super battle droids, Anakin, Obi-Wan, a clone pilot, a clone captain, and who can forget, Padme. The Republic Gunship is a must-have for any clone army builder, and LEGO did a great job on this set, which continues to be a must-have 12 years later. It's unfortunate that the Coruscant Guard Gunship from 2023 wasn't all that well received. I still like it though, but I am excited to see what gunships we get in the future. For Revenge of the Sith, I wasn't really sure what to pick, as most of the best sets from the prequels surprisingly come from the Clone Wars and not this movie. I was considering sets like the Palpatine's Arrest, which is an all-time figure selection, as well as the AT-AT, the Droid Gunship, which are great sets from recent years, but I quickly remembered that we got a great Revenge of the Sith set in 2022, that being the 75337 ATT. This set is easily the best ATT we've gotten, with an amazing figure selection containing 3 droids, a spider droid, 3 2/12 clones, a clone gunner, and the coveted Phase 2 Cody. This model is a perfect ATT, so I don't really have much to say about it. I really like the figure selection though. 5 clones is a really generous amount for LEGO, and I wish we got this much in every Republic set, but I must say it has been getting better. Even though I don't really like the new clone style from 2020, and the helmet holes aren't great, at least the Phase 2 Cody is a really great and almost perfect figure. Overall, great modern set that didn't disappoint, unlike that new gunship. Before we move on to the original trilogy, I can't forget Rogue One and Solo, but since they have smaller waves, I'll have to speedrun them. For Solo, this was not difficult. I definitely have to go with the 75211 TIE Fighter, which is the best one we've ever gotten, and it's not even from a main movie. I don't really have any honorable mentions, but I do actually really like the Kessel Run Falcon. But on the other hand, Rogue One was very difficult to choose just one set from. There are so many perfect sets, like the Imperial Hover Tank, the Y-Wing, and the Krennic Shuttle. But for me personally, it really came down to a battle between the U-Wing and the Vader's Castle. I think I had to go with the castle just because of how unique it is, but I felt really bad making such a tough decision. Moving on to A New Hope, I was very disappointed in the choices. Turns out without UCS sets, there's just a lot of repetition and not many interesting sets. I don't have honorable mentions, but it came down between the 7965 Millennium Falcon and the 75218 X-Wing. I had to go with the X-Wing just because it's the best one we've ever gotten. Meanwhile, we've gotten better Falcons from other movies. This X-Wing had 731 pieces and 4 figures, which were Luke Skywalker in his pilot form, Biggs Darklighter, R2-D2 and R2-Q2, and retailed for $90, I believe. I don't have much to say about this build other than it's pretty flawless, and I have to admit I'm pretty disappointed in the sets this movie had to offer. I think I understand why people complain all the time about so many OT sets, because a lot of the time we just get more of the same. The same thing can be said about The Empire Strikes Back. Most sets are very samey, being based off Hoth, with only a few coming from Bespin. I had to go with the 75288 AT-AT from 2020. Retailing for $160, this set had 1,267 pieces and 6 minifigures: Luke Skywalker, General Maximilian, 2 snowtroopers, and 2 AT-AT drivers. Even though I feel like I'm being repetitive, the exact same things that I said about the X-Wing can be said for the AT-AT. It's just the best model of this vehicle, in a movie where we don't get a lot of different sets. I will say that the 2019 Slave 1 gave it a run for its money and is an honorable mention. But hot take, I just don't think it works as well in this scale. Like, obviously the UCS one's going to be better, but it doesn't translate as well as something like, let's say, the UCS Falcon did, like from UCS form down to playscale form and vice versa. For episode 6, I was pleasantly surprised to find that unlike the other original trilogy movies, there are a lot more different sets, coming from Tatooine, space, or Endor. For honorable mentions, I have the Imperial Shuttle Tydrium from 2015, the new TIE Bomber from 2023, the 2012 Jabba's Palace, the B-Wing, and the 2013 Jabba's Sail Barge. In the end, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I had to go with the 8038 Battle of Endor from 2009. Containing 890 pieces and 12 whole minifigures, for me this is a perfect playset. It had a ton of minifigures including 3 Ewoks, Endor Leia, and even Endor Captain Rex before he was Endor Captain Rex. Hella ahead of its time, I like it. I love how there's extra builds like that smaller AT-ST, speeders, and a catapult to complement the main bunker. It's a crime that this hasn't been remade, as it's so important to this movie. I also think it's a shame that we don't get a lot of structure-based sets in Star Wars, but I obviously understand that they have to make ships because that's what's the most popular. Moving on to the sequels, I look at this first movie sets and I'm not very surprised that the sequels are hated. The Force Awakens got some weak sets. I only have 2 kind of honorable mention, and those are the 2 X-Wings we got. And I will say I actually prefer the Resistance X-Wing design to the Rebel one, even if the difference isn't huge. That being said, the best set would probably have to be the 75103 First Order Transporter. This set had 792 pieces and 7 minifigures, including 2 Resistance Troopers, 2 Stormtroopers, 2 First Order Flame Troopers, and the coolest minifigure, Captain Phasma. This is a pretty well-liked set, probably stemming from the good figure selection and the cool build. I really like the transport sets like this, like the U-Wing and the Republic gunship. I feel like any troop transport is just a good excuse to show off your clone army, or any army really, in this case the First Order one, which is kind of why they're well-liked. Or maybe that's just my way of thinking. Overall, good build and a disappointing wave of sets. Matter of fact, a dishonorable mention is the Kylo Ren shuttle, but shout out to the designer who actually also designed the next Kylo Ren shuttle and did an amazing job. So it was obviously Star Wars' fault for giving bad concept art. Our second last movie is The Last Jedi, and this one was actually pretty hard to choose from. I really love this movie's sets. For honorable mentions, I have the amazing Resistance Bomber, which is one of the best ship playsets we've ever gotten, as well as the First Order Heavy Assault Walker, which is a great new First Order version of the AT-AT. The Porg, which is really cute, and I regret not getting, and the Defense on Crate. In the end, I had to go with the 75190 First Order Star Destroyer. As someone who owns almost all the Last Jedi sets, this set is so good. I remember falling in love with it the first time I saw it and getting it for Christmas, so maybe I'm a bit biased. Containing 1,416 pieces and 7 minifigures, this was a great value for only $160. It gave us our first Snoke minifigure, as well as a couple Stormtroopers, BB-9E, a medical droid, a First Order officer, and a First Order shuttle pilot. This set is beautiful and an amazing display model. It also has a spacious interior with plenty of room for your figures. I really can't give this set enough praise, but if you ever see this set used somewhere, then I definitely recommend picking it up. Lastly, we have The Rise of Skywalker. While I don't think this movie has as good of sets as The Last Jedi, I will say it is definitely better than Force Awakens. After all, it gave us the best playscale Falcon to date. However, I still have to give the title of best set the 75256 Kylo Ren shuttle. This set is just so perfect and a hell of an improvement from the Force Awakens model. It contains 1,005 pieces and 6 figures, 4 of which were exclusive to this set. This includes Kylo Ren, General Pride, 2 Knights of Ren, a Sith Trooper, and a First Order Stormtrooper. I'm not in the minority of saying this set is amazing, and this is far from a hot take as it is universally loved, even by sequel haters. The design is really badass and all black with some red highlights, which is backed up with an awesome figure selection. It also only retailed for $130, which I think is quite fair for this imposing of a build, which would make its presence known in any collection. And those are my picks for the best sets of each movie. Let me know what you guys agreed and disagreed with and your overall opinions. I was personally surprised with how weak some movies were, specifically episode 4 and 5. But there's only so many options for LEGO to make, so they're not really fully to blame. Let me know if you guys would be interested in me making a similar video but with TV shows and any ideas you guys have in general. Anyway, make sure to like, subscribe, and God bless.